Hey, welcome back to Happy Little Note Trees. Today we're going to be continuing on that vein that I was on, working with a variety of tools, trying to come up with a good way to model a day for night situation. So one of the things that we know when we're visually in a nighttime, our rods and cones start to act differently, and so our ability to see red tones gets more bleached out to kind of a tealish look because our eyes aren't perceiving red as strongly. And so yeah, this is just a fun little pumpkin patch. So you got a lot of saturation going to that red-yellow corridor on that, and I thought this would be a good place to try. Hey, what do we got to do to make this look like a nighttime scene? So let's just get ourselves set up on a good frame, and yeah, just pick right there. So what we were doing in the previous one was I am using Contour, which is a paid OFX plugin, and there is a slight, hit on the curve, very slight. I actually probably don't even need it. Of the contrast curve, but what I am doing is with the sat curve, and yeah, it's very low and very bleached, but you can see as I bring it back up, what I have going on is I have cranked the mid sat, so in the midtones there is a lot of color and a lot of flavor and everything that you would want going on, and I have completely crashed down the low end and the high end saturation, so it's kind of made a little bump in the image, and then have just walked it back, and you can see it's just, as you do that, it's bleaching out the brightest parts of the image and kind of just reining everything back in. It's not being actually too aggressive. And then yeah, you can control how, based on luminosity as well, where it's hitting, and kind of bring it back. You can see we invert the lume mask and put on highlight mode, where we're leaving saturation, where this is affecting the image, but I've kind of just left it up there. I have this side track. These are coming back together with a luminosity slider, and this is just the Technicolor 3-strip. So you can see, if we bring that up, that's what Technicolor 3-strip would look like at that point. And then this guy, as well as this guy. So you need all three in this chain, otherwise it thinks that I turned. If the last one in a chain going into a layer mixer, that one turns off, they all turn off. So that is how layer mixers work. But we can turn that curve off just so it's not affecting anything. And so it's basing this, at this point in the chain, it's comparing the hue and saturation of the contrast curve that we did with the contour, and then pairing that with the luminosity. So if we were just to do, you turn contour off, turn highlight mode off, you can see what these three nodes do in terms of, oops, not what I want to do. Turn that off, and yeah. So these three nodes are set up to kind of keep doing it. Click, select. To kind of condense down the hue, so you can see on the vector scope, it is all over the place, and now we've just pinched it down, 3-strip, kind of really condensed down the hues, but it's raised up the luminosity a little bit. So the hue and saturation of here is applied to the luminosity leftovers of this bleach over here, and so the end result of all these turned on is this kind of bleached out, very basic looking thing. And we can actually fiddle with the contrast curve a little bit and kind of bring that back up if we want, and as you bring that contrast up, you are going to get some more color coming back in to the shot just naturally. After that, I have this set of nodes here that have turned everything blue. Yeah, And that's kind of the point of what we're doing is with this tweak. You can see here, this is pretty much just controlling the saturation. Oh, there we go. There we go. Controlling the saturation. So we have this. These are coming back together in screen. The math that goes into that, and all we're doing with this, so we can set what our max gain of red is going to be, and then we're using the sat shaper. We're just drawing it back out, and you can see it's just bringing it in, and so the highest highlights start to leach to the remaining colors that we have. And with the blue curve, we flip-flopped it, and so we actually give it a quick rise. It pops off the charts, and we can bring the gain up, and we've given that gamma a boost so that it dominates what's going on in terms of how it shapes it. And a lot of that can shape also the curve and what it looks like to be off on the side. If you're still with me at this point, be sure to hit the likey-like button down in the big box, and we're going to just keep dialing this in. So after these two, you get the tone that you're looking for. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And then I'm using this top end. This is a DCTL it's version 0.01. That iridescent color kind of developed on the fly of extending and helping bleach out some of those effects. But I just like how it's kind of just a linear exposure. The other option would be to just do linear exposure, or there is in here somewhere. Linear, right, there we go. Where we're just controlling exposure down. But what happens is the difference is instead of just doing exposure, it actually has a desat control. So as you bring that exposure down, you're getting a nice consolidation and blend and more push of that strength. It's a really interesting tool. There's two versions. We're on version 0.02. In terms of testing and thinking about how this tool works. So kind of pushing that tinge strength a little bit more. I don't know. I've been playing around with it. The other thing that now that I'm here, I've been bleaching out these blues a little bit more, so as things are hotter, kind of bleaching it out, because now that all that color has been, we can come back under in our look and start to shape things that way. And so just bringing things down. Like so. You can see we're instantly on the waveforms just squashing whatever red is in the image as we bring that exposure in and kind of rein it in from where it was at. And then you can kind of go back and you can kind of, this gain, you can bring that red back into the mix. And as you bring color in, you're actually going to slowly crank your exposure down. So if you want it to be brighter, it's going to be like that. And so it's kind of just finding that right balance of how much red should be shaped into the image, or how desatted should it be as it goes. The other thing that can kind of sell this a little bit better is to kind of pop over. I was playing around with it earlier by just adding in a little bit of a, it's a sky replacement, so selecting that out. And then bringing that in. Let's see what we're doing here. little color to the sky, maybe. Just kind of deepen that notch. Turn up highlight. A little bit of haloing, not too happy with, and that's partly just because how things are looking. And so this was a nighttime shot, a daytime shot that we started with, and we're kind of just working to try to figure out what looks like the appropriate amount of red in the image. And we can do this. We can kind of just bring up, maybe in the curves, just kind of bring up, just see how that sits. Kind of shaping that a little bit, and that's really only affecting the red. Should be only affecting the red channel if you look at what's going on there. So what's getting pumped in. See, we've completely desatted things down. We could, we're just bringing up that exposure of it, shaping, and just making it feel nice and cozy. Right there. Let's see, this is where our green is at, and this is where our blue is at. And so how all those things combine is how we're getting this tint effect coming in. And then this guy, as you bring up the strength, you're going to lower the exposure because you're taking color out of the image. So, and kind of fading that back. But a lot of this control right here is where we're going to steer on the vector scope the tonality of that hue. That we're pumping into the final image, because we're not using this one, even though, yeah, it is very nice. This leaves a lot of luminosity. It's kind of where I ended up liking running with it. Just tweaking out these things. Yeah. And you can see, if we turn off that sky replacement, that's what effect we're adding into it right there. Just with a, and I think we can even see if we wanted to keep it separate, go with the guy over here, just drag. And see what that looks like and go, no, I don't like that. I liked what I shaped, what I did. So now we have this look that is built here. And if we turn off any of this, we'll start to go back to, let's leave our DRT out of it. And now we're getting color and it's just a very underexposed image. But now we've kind of shaped it and made it feel more like nighttime. I don't know. It's trying to figure out what is a natural. Does this feel like something that you'd be looking at if you were out in a cornfield? And I think the issue is, yeah, because like once you have this look, that's when we can come back underneath to our global exposure adjustment and kind of, we wanted it to be a little bit brighter, or keep bringing it in. We're kind of affecting all that there for gamma. bring down the gain, the highlights a little bit more. Just kind of give it a little like that nighttime glowy boost. Yeah. So yeah, like, subscribe, do all those YouTube things. But yeah, it's sure it's been something I've been playing around with the last couple of days. So I thought I'd share progress of developing these ideas and thoughts and these looks. Because if you can get this looking good, and it really didn't even do much with that sky replacement. To it, it was a very blue sky, and so we're just bringing it all down. Now we can. There's so many control points to tweak how those look. It's almost completely the saturation pulled down. I think we're using OpenDRT here, so there's even tweaking how this is going to affect but yes, these monochromatic looks are kind of intrigue me, because there is a lot of detail and things that you can see that feels like the essence of color, even though there isn't really anything there. Anyways, if you like this, please like, subscribe, do all those other YouTube-ish things, and I'll see you in the next one.